to the Guns Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bad Fanfiction Night. I am your host, Raymond McNeil. Joining me, as always, is the wonderful, sleepy Twilight Guardian.
I was not asleep. I was playing a game.
Sorry. The Elite Hacksaws Twilight Guardian.
Yeah.
Tonight, we are continuing our deep dive into Lily Orchard's infamous Sith Resurgence. It is we are nearing the end of it. We are at the very nearing the end of our dive into it because we're at the tail end of The Force Awakens, and we're going to try and take a break somewhere after The Force Awakens and before The Last Jedi. So we'll see where that winds up, and we'll see how that gauges. But we're nearing the end. This is clearly one of the last chapters in that particular part of the saga. As such, it is about 13 pages long. So it's just on the cusp of us being able to cover it all in a single night. But that means we're going to need to speed read. So everyone, please remember, keep your comments, questions, heartaches, quips, conversation. Please keep in mind that we want to get through this as quickly as possible, so keep them to a reserved amount this time around. We still enjoy them, but we're, again, got to prioritize speed. We got a lot to read through and a lot to get into. And I'm doing a bad example.
No conversations.
I'm rambling to myself now, and I'm doing a bad example of this. We're looking at a runtime probably of about an hour and a half, knowing Lily's god-awful writing. So everyone sit back, grab a nice beverage, and basically try to enjoy. Let's do this.
Hi.
Oh, shit, I didn't mean to click that. There's that. All right, back. Chapter... Actually, I don't know what chapter this is. Come back for me. I want to say it's like chapter 9 or 10. Anyway.
It's chapter 9, I believe.
Yeah. The battle had gone miserably. Finn and Han had disabled the shields, but the fighters were having trouble actually damaging the oscillator. I forgot to put up the chat. Make sure everything is fine. Celtic has been freed from the bucket. Yeah, I'm wearing hat now. Even with the Fury's startling weapon capacities, they'd only done minor superficial damage to the structure, let alone the internal mechanisms. The First Order had armored this critical component to such a degree that they were going to need an entire bombing fleet in order to rupture it. And that was where Poe counted the TIE fighters buzzing around like wasps. Around them like wasps. Captain Dameron, come in. What's your status? Came Aliana's voice on the comm system as Poe narrowly avoided a cruise missile? Excuse me?
Those?
Ironically, I was just watching a video on ICBMs like 10 minutes ago, and you suddenly having nukes in Star Wars. Okay.
Well, cruise missiles are for ground targets.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
The shield's down, but our weapons are barely making a scratch on the thing, Poe said in exasperation. We're outnumbered 30-1 up here, and that weapon is almost done charging. That does paint the situation as rather grim, Master Dameron, 2V chimed. And your droid won't shut up, Poe added with disdain. Any chance you can do anything else where you are? Do some damage? Expose a weak point? I think we can do one better, actually, Aliana said, her hollow figure turning behind her. We're going to blow a hole in the oscillator. If you can, take the Fury inside and blow it up from the guts out. I have a comment, but I'm not going to say it. Anyway, that weapon could fire before I get in there. I can buy you a few extra seconds at best. That's all I need. Got it. Omarosa out. Aliana turned to Han, Finn, Rey, and Chewie. We need to blast that thing open so the Fury can get inside. You still have explosives, Chewie. Chewie growled in affirmation. Excellent. Aliana smiled before turning to the others. Finn, Han, I need your help planting these explosives on every level of the oscillator. You plant it, you arm it, you move on to the next one. Got it? This ain't my first time blowing up a station, kid, Han said with a confident smirk. Is it? Han, you weren't, like... Actually, you weren't really involved in the destruction of either one. You were more covering fire in both of them. You got shot during one of them.
Hold on.
I mean, his ship blew up the second one. Does that count?
No.
I mean, he did blow up the shield generator in Return of the Jedi. Does that count?
No. She turned to Rey and hesitated before finally asking, Rey, I need my lightsaber. Rey stared at her as if sizing her up. She was... Rey's just like, I can take her. She was right, of course. She did need it, but there was something about having it that made her feel more at ease with following her. Maybe it was the trust Aliana placed in her to surrender her weapon so readily. Rey? Aliana asked again, a lot more nervously this time. Rey pulled Aliana's lightsaber out of her robes and handed it to her. She took it, looking at her with a grateful expression on her face. Thank you. She turned to the oscillator. All right, it's time to knock out a super weapon. You have other lightsabers. I mean, Finn has one. You clearly have Kylo's. Why aren't you just giving someone that?
It needs to be hers.
The plot twist is that she's going to use it to stab them all in the back.
I think that it might have been forgotten about.
Probably.
She kind of forgot about Kylo's lightsaber.
After spending so much time absolutely making this man her bitch.
Oh, that's why she forgot about it.
What was the point of last chapter with the whole thing with Rey wanting Lolly?
Wanting what?
What was the point on Rey like asking for the lightsaber? She's just gonna give it.
Yeah,
back.
no, that's also like, wait, what? You like? There are several problems there to begin with, anyway, because she also had Kylo as well. I presume she is carrying Kylo's lightsaber. I would presume you want to keep that on you, anyway. Rey pulled Aliana's lightsaber out of her robes and handed it to her. She took it, looking at her with a grateful expression on her face. Thank you. She turned back to the oscillator. All right, it's time to knock out a super weapon. Rey stepped away, suddenly unsure what to do. Aliana didn't give her any directions to help other than handing her her weapon. Looking over... Wait, so Rey stepped away, suddenly unsure what to do. Aliana didn't give her any... all right, I guess.
Owner didn't give me directions.
Woof, bark, please. Which direction did you throw the ball in?
What?
Looking over at Finn, who had just begun to scale up the next level, she decided to follow him. Did you know? Rey asked when she finally caught up to him. No what?
No.
Finn asked, looking back. About Aliana, Rey said, quickly correcting herself. Oh, yeah, Finn said sheepishly. And you didn't tell me? Rey demanded, trying to keep her voice down despite her outrage. She said it was for her to tell you, Finn explained. Who else knew then? She asked indignantly. Han, Chewie, BB-8, Poe, Maz, General Leia, Maz Kanata again.
The janitor.
The janitor. That one guy at Space McDonald's that took her order. It's just like go down this long Ungar plot. What was it? Oh, what's that? The name?
Glupshido?
That's it. Glupshido. That's what I was looking for. For the love of! Finn sighed as he placed a charge. All right, Rey, you really want to know why she didn't tell you? It's because she actually likes you, and she didn't want to risk you being afraid of or hating her for being a Sith. And you know what? That's a fear she's right to have, because the General was giving her a lot of suspicious looks the entire time we were on the base, and even pulled her aside to yell at her. Was that what happened? I don't remember being yelled at.
No.
Like
she was
It was like
very snarky at her.
It was a snarky conversation, but that was a conversation.
At worst, it was a very stern talking to.
Finn, stop standing for Sith.
All I'm hearing is that Lily doesn't know the difference.
What else is new? He armed the charge and moved to the next one, throwing one to Rey to plant. But she doesn't care what the general thinks of her or what Han thinks of her. She actually does care what you think of her. Rey was quiet for a moment. She was unsure what to say. When considering why Aliana kept her identity a secret, she had only considered it was for some dark, manipulative, Sith-like purpose. Apparently, her suspicions of such a thing were exactly what Aliana was worried about, and something you should probably still be worried about because she could have been lying to Finn.
I mean, yeah.
I suppose, she said, following Finn up to the next level, but you were honest with me and we're fine. Yeah, we are. Finn nodded in agreement. And yes, Aliana probably should have told you sooner, but Sith Lord is usually considered far worse than a rogue stormtrooper. Has anyone really decided to try and compare those two?
Debatable.
I don't know how many...
They all wear the rogue stormtroopers. Like, what the fuck?
This goes back to the fact that how many people actually know what a Sith is in universe versus knowing what a stormtrooper is. Like, I would actually think if you told someone you were a Sith, it'd be like telling someone in like rural India you're like a Jehovah's Witness. They'd probably be like, what is that? Like, I feel like...
Why are you roboting all of a sudden, Raymond?
Am
You're
I
not
roboting?
Kaiser. A little bit.
Okay,
Yeah,
wouldn't they
a
have at
little
least
bit.
had Darth Vader is a Sith? Wouldn't they
Also,
have?
racist.
I'm roboting. Kaiser's behind like normal.
Kaiser's behind like normal. What else is new?
All right. Maybe, Rey says, it doesn't make any... maybe, Rey said as she fit another charge onto a wall. That doesn't make me any less angry with her, though. I never said it had to, Finn shrugged. But just consider that before you start accusing her of some grand galactic scheme. I'm not saying she was right to lie to you. It's just that she didn't have ulterior motives for doing it.
Motives.
She wanted to tell you, Rey. Rey frowned. The storm of conflicting emotions didn't sate as she had hoped they would. That's not how you use the word sate. Perhaps when they were away from this planet and Rey had time to get a proper explanation out of Aliana, the storm would settle. Now her attention was drawn to a familiar, ever-encroaching presence. The presence that had sought to break her in that interrogation cell. Oh, damn! She cursed before looking outward. Sure enough, Kylo Ren was on a nearby catwalk, frustration and petulant fury in each step. He didn't appear to have seen them yet, and even if he had proven to be ineffective against Aliana anyway. I'm not sure why we should feel threatened by this guy. Putting that out there.
Yeah, I was about to say, the movie should be over then if you're that nonchalant about him.
I think
Even still, Rey sneered, knowing his presence was not what they needed right now. Finn looked out at the catwalk and winced, ducking down. Damn it, what's he doing here? I thought she was cloaking us. The two of them peered out. Do you imagine she can cloak I don't even know. I don't even want to pretend to know how that fucking works. The two of them peered out between the guardrails and watched him move to the center of the catwalk and stop there. It was as if he was waiting for something. Then they saw what made both their hearts stop dead in their chests. Han had stepped out for cover and was walking towards the catwalk. Han, what are you doing? Came Aliana's voice on the comm, but they watched Han reach up and touch the comm link and his signal went dead. I'm not sure how you can tell that on the comm link, but whatever. Down on the catwalk, Han stepped to the edge and looked out at his son. A whole slurry of emotions ran through him. He knew his son was gone forever, but something deep down told him he had to at least try. If he didn't, he may as well just stop pretending he'd ever had one. Ben! He yelled across the chasm. Kylo Ren slowly turned on the catwalk and stared him down. You made a mistake coming here, old man, he responded. Tell me where the girl and the Sith is, and I'll make sure you die quickly. Why don't you take off that mask of yours first? Han offered as he stepped closer to Ren. He knew his son wasn't so heartless. He knew if he had just tried hard enough, he could get through to him. What do you expect to see? Kylo mused. My son. Kylo scoffed, shaking his head. Your son is gone. He was weak and foolish like his father, so I destroyed him. Above, on the overhang, Rey saw Aliana roll her eyes and mouth the words, What the criff? That's what Snoke wants you to believe. Han said, stepping onto the catwalk and slowly moving towards him. But it's not true. My son is alive. Kylo Ren said nothing and instead drew back his hood to allow him to unclasp and remove his helmet. From the distance, he stood. Aliana couldn't quite make out the face that was just revealed, but something about it looked familiar. Is this what you want? Kylo asked. To try and sway me back to the light and away from my true calling? That's just a bunch of crap that Snoke fed you, Han responded. He got his helmet off. He was close. He could feel it. All this time, he only ever wanted you for your power. What power? Aliana asked internally as she got up and started quietly climbing down to the catwalk. Grease stain or not, he was still dangerous to anyone without a lightsaber. No, the Supreme Leader is wise, Kylo bit back. You see, he will crush the Republic, and the Resistance along with it, and the Sith you've been sneaking around this base with. Han sighed and shrugged. Yeah, we got a Sith on our side now. I know, I never thought I'd live to see the day. But do you know what that means? It means I know you aren't lost yet. You can still turn away from this, Ben. You can come home. This isn't a death sentence for you. Kylo Ren began to look uneasy in the wake of his father's unfaltering gaze. Could you be right? He began, trying to swallow the lump in his throat. I know what I have to do. I just don't know if I have the strength to do it. Aliana froze in her tracks, her eyes went wide. She couldn't feel unease or conflict from Kylo Ren, but hatred, deception, bloodlust. With a deep breath, she jumped off the platform and fell 50 feet to land in a roll on the catwalk floor, drawing her lightsaber and sprinting for the catwalk herself. Oh yeah! Aliana's gonna save fucking Han Solo, everyone! Oh, look how badass she is!
Aliana was the surprise chair from behind.
In the
Never
immortal
again will we
words
know
of
the
our Lord
fear
and
of
Savior
Grease.
Aliana, what the criff am I reading?
That's what should have happened, except she fell 50 feet and broke every bone in her body.
Okay,
Okay.
actually, she does end up saving Han, but only because she jumps 50 feet, falls, lands and crumples into a heap on the floor, which distracts Han and Kylo, and they're just like, what the fuck? And, Han just gets the fuck out of there before he can get stabbed in the distraction.
She just does the fucking Peter Griffin exhale.
Kylo's just like, I have seen a horrific dead body today. I do not know. I can't do this today. I'm going home.
No, I'm going home.
James. It just
Um,
redeems Kyle.
Kylo
Also,
Ren
take a
flinched.
shot. They called her a grease stain again. They called him a grease stain again.
Yeah, no, I didn't think it was worth noting. Kylo Ren flinched as he saw Aliana begin to approach him at high speed. just suddenly in a car. Gas, gas, gas. Turn on the gas.
It's time to step on the gas.
Han turned his head to see the Sith running towards them. Stay back, kid, he called out. This is family matter. His sentence died in his throat as the crimson blade of a lightsaber shot through his back and out his chest. Shock and confusion flickered briefly on the old man's face before being replaced with clarity and horror. He could only hear the hissing of the blade and the loud roar of anguish from his dear friend Chewie. His feet gave out and he fell from the catwalk, plummeting into the dark, seemingly endless chasm below. Aliana skidded to a halt, watching in horror as Han fell out of her sight. 1,000 questions ran through her head. Why did he even try? Why did he so foolishly throw his life away? Why was it over so quickly? Did she leave the oven on? Tears started to brim in her eyes as she turned her gaze to Kylo Ren.
With the Force.
Her face contorted in fury. Her lightsaber seemed to hiss as she held it by her side and glared the dark Jedi down. That was a bad mistake, she said slowly. You were too slow this time, Kylo remarked. His gaze seemed unfocused, almost appearing glassy as if he were lost in the euphoria of his own vile deed. He took a battle stance, his stable guardless lightsaber pointed straight at her. It was then that the two more dark figures dropped down just behind Aliana. Like Kylo, they were wearing black robes and odd-looking masks. Just as Aliana turned to see them approach, a third dropped down in between her and Kylo. The Supreme Leader sent us to deal with this one, Ren, one of the masked figures said to him. I hope I can keep track of these motherfuckers, but I have no faith that I will. No, Kylo Ren growled. The Sith is mine. She will suffer for disgracing me. Aliana perked up at that. Did I disgrace you? Good, because I'll do a lot more than that. She recognized him now, fully now. She'd met him in his master before. Not Snoke, but Skywalker. I'm owed vengeance. Okay, in the background you just hear a terrible kazoo cover
What
of Rules of
vengeance?
Nature playing.
Also, did she call it a dark Jedi?
It's a dark Jedi, yeah, that's been consistent.
She's been winning. What
Yeah.
vengeance?
Yeah, she's been winning.
Just keep reading.
Aliana, if you want to solve this problem, this catwalk has no support other than its two ends. He is standing in the middle of it. Just cut the part in front of you. Just like right now. Just cut it.
Or use the
Yeah.
Force.
Like
to,
Indiana Jones.
twist it.
Dude got his Darth Amoroso with a steel chair. Oh.
Yay.
Classic lightning.
Two of the knights
Thank
drew
God she didn't
lightsabers.
actually say Han, though, because that would have been a cop-out.
Two of the knights
No.
drew lightsabers and a third motion for Kylo Ren to leave. The Supreme Leader is through with your failure. The Supreme Leader is through with your failures. Now go find the girl. I will have my... Kylo's vow for vengeance was cut short by a shot from Chewie's bowcaster striking him in the side. The Dark Jedi buckled and fell to his knees from the impact. Soon Chewie and the others were in a firefight with nearby stormtroopers that were not mentioned until this point. Look at that! They gave away...
Stormtroopers?
Stormtroopers. My bad. Apparently I'm in an mode. Just pronouncing things as ooms.
Oh my god.
The Knights of Ren don't have lightsabers, do they?
I think
They don't.
she's making some creative changes.
Or she wrote this thing before.
The story has changed. Pray I do not alter it further.
Or she wrote-
Look at that! They gave away their position! Lucky you! Remarked the knight closest to Kylo. Now get on your feet and deal with it! Aliana briefly considered staying to humiliate these knights as she had Kylo Ren, but the thought of Ren chasing after Rey again made her unwilling to make the same mistake twice, but with even more of her friends. That was two butts back to back. You gotta break up those clauses.
Yeah.
She's after them how? He has a hole in his chest.
Instead,
Died.
she leapt up and backflipped over the knights that had cut off her exit, landing on the other side of them and cutting one down before she turned and sprinted back towards her friends. There would always be another day to kill these fools. So how many Knights of Ren are there? There's like 12, aren't there?
Something like that?
Well, now there's
really ever
11.
know.
There's 6.
There's 6.
Yeah, I counted 6 in the movie.
There's
Oh,
6.
there's only 6? Okay, so now we're down to 5. Like, instantly.
Well, this is the movie, so that's the movie's version, so, take that with a grain of salt.
True. I don't put any stock in these going to be threats at all. They're just more fodder for Aliana to look cool off of. As she sprinted out towards her friends, she saw Rey looking absolutely distraught. She protected them from blaster fire as Chewie was mowing down stormtroopers left and right. He killed him! Rey shouted at Ali. He killed him! And he will suffer and die for that, Aliana assured her. But we're at a disadvantage here. We have to set up charges and get out before this place blows. Oh, Sora Hart. Sorry I'm late. I was focused on Silent Hill 2 Remake that I forgot about Bad Fanfiction Night. A good reason to be distracted.
Also, our hero, everyone.
Yeah.
Also, Aliana, with what you've been doing to these people so far, you could probably kill them all, set the charges, and have a tea party without even breaking a sweat.
Yes, unironically, yes. Also,
Or kill them
Rey,
all while everyone else sets up the charges.
Rey, why do you care so much about fucking Han? Like, at all? You spent no time with him, unlike in the original where you actually said, I don't know how Lily somehow makes it so much worse.
It's magic. People watch the
Yeah,
movie.
she was upset about it in the movie, so she has to be upset about it here.
Because she has to have herself insert OC in the middle of it, and that destroys characterization for everyone else, because that's what a Mary Sue does.
And he will suffer and die for that, Aliana assured her, but we are at a disadvantage here. We have to set off the charges and get out before this place blows. Ray swallowed back a sob, but after a moment to look at their situation, outnumbered and outgunned, she nodded at Aliana. That wasn't a sentence. I don't know what to tell you that was. That was not a sentence.
This isn't the story.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, now follow me. Finn, be ready with the detonator, she called out. As they made their way outside, Aliana checked to make sure no fighters would be caught by the explosion and gave Finn the signal. He hit the switch and the charges blew, knocking all of them back through the sheer force of the explosion. Though through the fire and smoke, Aliana could see a large opening having been cut in the oscillator just big enough for the Fury to fit through. Poe, it's done, Aliana yelled into her comm. Get in there. Omarosa, that weapon is fully charged. I'm not going to have enough time to blast it to pieces. Poe's voice came in the comms. Now Aliana's like, I fucking asked you if you thought you'd have enough time. Aliana glanced back towards the massive trench hundreds of kilometers away, where the actual emitter for the weapon was glowing and ready to fire at any minute. How much time do you need? 15 seconds, Poe yelled, already tearing for the hole. I can get you that, Aliana nodded as she watched the weapon's emitter start to spin. She deactivated her lightsaber and threw it to Rey. Go and get the Falcon. I need you to come back for me. Rey looked down at the weapon thrown into her hands, then back up at Aliana. Wait, what? What are you doing? What are you going to do? She asked, panic seeping heavily into her voice. Something probably very stupid and against my survival instincts. But hey, if it works, we'll get to laugh about it later, Aliana said, attempting to give Rey an easy smile. So long as you come back for me. One moment. There we go.
I feel like
Roll credits.
On point, Raymond. On point.
But yeah, I just feel like you didn't need to make Aliana vital to this part as well. It just slows everything down for no reason.
I honestly don't know why she's doing this, because like this is just, you're making it far more complicated than it was in the original, which didn't need extra complication on top of it.
Like
Yeah,
this
that's
is,
nothing.
I mean, it's like
when you didn't know that a bad plot to a movie could be made worse, and then you appreciate the original so much more.
It's amazing.
Honestly, like I appreciate The Force Awakens so much more now, because now I'm noticing that there were a lot more quiet scenes in that one.
Yep.
Dude, this is post-prequel clarity right now.
Post-prequel.
That's exactly what's happening.
Anyway, Rey frowned. The thought of just leaving Aliana here suddenly crossed her mind, and just as suddenly filled her with disgust. She shook her head and pointed at the Sith. You have a lot of explaining to do when this is over, Lucy. Or is it was it Genie that had a lot of explaining to do? Anyway, archaic reference for someone that thought All in the Family was a timely reference for their video.
I got those references.
You have a lot of explaining to do when this is over, she said through gritted teeth. Aliana nodded. I know. I will. Rey stared her down before turning and breaking off into a sprint, with Finn lagging behind only a moment before following her. Aliana trembled as she wondered if this would be the last time she ever saw either of them. She wished she could afford the chance to watch until they vanished from sight, but the clock was ticking, and the Fury was getting closer. She stepped up onto a high rock protruding from the planet's surface and got a clear view of the emitter. You are not about to fucking do this. No. Oh, fuck. I think I know what's about to happen, and I'm about to be very angry. It was just about ready to fire. She needed to have precise timing or it would be too far away. At hyper light speed, she would only have a fraction of a second. She closed her eyes and focused. Normally, she would channel her anger or hatred or something like that, as Sith do. She certainly had no shortage of it. The First Order, the Grease Stain, the Jedi that attacked her and took her mother from her. But that wouldn't be sufficient. She needed something more raw, more powerful. You're making it worse what I think you're about to do. She thought about Rey, picturing every detail in her mind and focusing on it. She wished things could have gone differently. But she could, that she could go back and tell her the truth from the start. It was a foolish and stupid decision, and it probably would have cost her dearly, assuming she survived. She'd been so afraid to lose her, so afraid to make her afraid of her, and now she couldn't think about anything but whether or not she was safe, and whether or not she was okay. Was she secret? Was she safe? She loved her!
There we go, chat.
Raymond, the only thing that would make this better, okay, so imagine all that with that exact read, but My Heart Will Go On is playing in the background.
I was imagining, like, again, a harmonica cover of that, like, classical song. I think it's Venus? It's that one classical song that's, or no, it's Rachmaninoff has the romantic suite from, I think, Swan Lake or something. The ba-da, ba-da-da, ba-da-ba, that in the background.
That works too.
What force? I feel like there's about to be a horrific butchering force.
I feel like she's about to, like, force the emitter back down with just the force.
Oh,
so I feel like this following thing is appropriate.
That's not how the Force works.
You could have
Okay,
held
guys.
off on that. Anyway,
Sorry.
just until we get to the part, Aliana took a deep breath and whispered, "Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power." With a roaring screech that echoed across the many chasms of Starkiller Base, the weapon fired. Aliana's eyes snapped open and she threw out her hands in a grasping motion, and the massive 1,000-mile-wide beam slowed to a halt in the planet's atmosphere. It roared and churned and strained against the force that was preventing it from moving any higher. It burned so brightly that Aliana felt her skin begin to burn just through sheer proximity. But more importantly, she felt it resist. The pull of the beam was intense, and it took all her strength just to stop it, let alone keep it still. She lifted her other hand and pulled back harder, feeling the pull become even stronger as the energy from the weapon backed up and strained even harder against her grasp. Man, she likes describing things as straining harder and harder against her grasp now, doesn't she?
Damn.
Aliana's eyes burned a bright yellow as she struggled even harder, letting out a low guttural growl as she exerted every scrap of the dark side she could muster to keep a beam staying exactly where she wanted it.
Okay.
Is that seriously what I think it is? Came a voice over the comms. Don't question it, just move. Don't question it, just move. Poe's voice yelled as it tore inside the oscillator. Okay, so it was someone else over the comm. The Fury flew through the burning hole faster than anything the defenses could have even hoped to counter against. Turbo lasers fired wildly inside, ripping through mechanisms, setting a flurry of explosions coursing through the veins of the base. The damage they were causing, coupled with the stalling of the weapon's blast that no one could explain, incited a chain reaction that was causing the entire planet to come apart at the seams. We're at a break. Well, don't worry. We still have a few more paragraphs before we swap over to Twilight. But Jesus Christ,
that sounds like something from Force Awakens. That sounds like something from like Force Unleashed.
Yes, keep reading.
Ed Steven SKW. That should involve several Force users, not one. That should involve the entire Jedi Order from the prequels, and even then, I'm not even sure they could have accomplished that. All right, this is the beam. She described it fairly. is thousands of miles in diameter, if not fucking radius. The sheer amount of energy you need to exert in order to repel that is incalculable. She is breaking physics in this very moment, and it hurts my brain.
Oh, God. Good God. Just like, there was a far simpler solution. Just like, I don't know, hit the explosives just as it fires and let it, like, I don't know, overload and explode.
No, because that wouldn't give her, like, this isn't her trying to fix something. This is her trying to give her character an even more badass moment. I need to read the comments on this fucking chapter. I need to see them.
Oh, yeah.
I'll pull those up separately and see if I can, while Twi's reading. But, like, Jesus Christ, man. Why doesn't she just make Starkiller Base implode on itself from the safety of her ship? Because, reasons.
Yeah, because everything has to be about her.
Like, reminder, the force of the energy beam from Starkiller Base is enough to obliterate not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 different planets simultaneously. If Rey can generate enough force to prevent a beam that powerful from being fired, could she not theoretically just, I don't know, force push the planet into the sun?
Rey or Aliana?
Sorry, Aliana. Look.
Also, Raymond, you forgot. She's got the power of love on her side.
I'm not even going to get into that. I'm just angry.
Oh my God, yes. It's not just the force, it's the power of love.
Okay.
It's the power of horny.
Are we swapping over now?
Guys, we got 4 more paragraphs before we swap over to Twi, so let's keep going. Finn and Rey were in sight of the Falcon when the burning beam in the sky drew their attention away. They simply stood in awe of what they saw. Even if Rey couldn't see her, she knew this was Aliana. She just saved countless lives in an instant, like a Sith would. And it was then that she was suddenly shoved back by an invisible power, knocking her head against a tree and losing consciousness. People would then remix this moment into copies of We Will Rock You over and over again. Rey! Finn shouted, running over to her. He dropped to his knees beside her and cradled her head in his hands, running his fingers over the back of her head and trying to see if she was bleeding. That was when he heard it, the snap hiss of a lightsaber being ignited behind him. He slowly turned his head to see the dark Jedi who never seemed to learn when to quit. He slowly stood up, gripping Anakin's lightsaber in his hands as he stared down his former commander. Traitor! Kylo Ren seethed, flourishing his lightsaber. It seemed to be built properly this time, with no vents or a blade that crackled like it was made of lightning. That lightsaber belongs to me.
The lightning slide.
Tell me, does it
Why
work?
does Kylo Ren care that Finn's a traitor?
Oh God, what does this say? Matt, there's a new petition taking off on change.org, and we think you might be interested in signing it. Change.org, petition to hire 1 million people to put the Force in the shoot hole of Starkiller Base so they can't shoot them. It's still going to shoot, and they're going to lose a planetary system. No, the Force blocks the beam. We can do this.
Thank you, Lightning, for doing God's work. Man.
Legendary. All right, Twi, it's passing over to you now.
Okay. Come get it, Finn shot back, steeling himself. His mind brought back to everything Aliana had taught him up to this point. As Kylo lunged at him, bringing his blade down, Finn managed to parry it on the downswing. Again, with the upswing. Kylo's assault was met with an appropriate counter, but Finn was on his back foot the entire time. The tells in Kylo's attacks were readable, especially with his limp, but the functional red lightsaber meant that he was faster than Finn was expecting. Keeping his motions light and fast were all he could do to keep up. He remembered that Aliana had told him that in lightsaber combat, he didn't need as much strength and that a skilled duelist would immediately move to the next attack the moment they were parried, so he held the lightsaber in one hand and spun it to meet each attack from Kylo Ren. Sure enough, he'd only had to do so much and tap his blade before Ren was convinced his attack was in vain and switched. This revelation followed Finn to focus more on being quick and on the ball instead of trying to meet strength and simply wasn't going to be there. Kylo Ren, however, was infuriated. How was a stormtrooper holding his own against him? What made him capable of wielding a lightsaber so fluently? His ego couldn't take it. He had been humiliated in every confrontation with his gaggle of traitors so far. He was not going to be humiliated again.
I know that's correctly, like, kind of correctly used, saying wielding it fluently, but now I'm imagining just, yes, I speak lightsaber fluently.
Yeah.
It's the guttural tongue of violence.
Yeah. He slammed down hard towards Finn's head and tried to break past his guard, something Finn clearly hadn't been expecting, and he was immediately knocked off his feet into the ground. In that moment of vulnerability, he brought his blade down onto Finn's back, slashing the unarmored fabric of his jacket and deep into the other man's flesh. Finn let out a strangled cry in pain before the intensity caused him to pass out. Kylo Ren panted hard. The elimination of the traitor caused him to exert himself more than he thought, even with his injury. You didn't eliminate him, though. You only passed out. He shook his head at the thought, wanting to do away with the sources of his humiliation as quickly as possible. Reaching down, he grabbed his grandfather's lightsaber out of Finn's limp hand. He ignited it while sheathing his red blade. Both he and the unconscious man were suddenly bathed in a blue light. His gaze turned back down to Finn, the blue lightsaber reeling back to deliver the killing blow. What Kylo didn't notice was the other figure in the snow returning to consciousness. He didn't see Rey look in horror as Kylo stood above her friend, who suffered a gaping, burning wound that laid motionless on the ground. He didn't feel her panic and her fury until she was already lunging towards him, stopping his blue blade from killing her friend with a red one. Kylo's head snapped to Rey, glaring her down. "You can't escape me alive, and you can't hope to kill me," he hissed. "Maybe not, but I can certainly try," Rey snarled as she shunted Kylo's blade away from Finn and lunged at him. Almost instantly, Kylo Ren was on the defensive. The Sith had fought with precision, and the traitor fought with enough skill to survive a few minutes, but the girl fought with fury. More fury than he'd seen in another Force user before. Even more than the Sith. He could feel the anger running off of her. Anger toward him for kidnapping her, for violating her mind, for killing Han Solo, for hurting her friend. Anger toward the Sith for her dishonesty. Rey had been holding back so much up until this point, and now it was all pouring out of her like a wave.
Hi, Billy Donuts. Good to see you here.
Hello, Billy.
Hey, donuts.
Kylo was unprepared for the utter ferocity the girl was displaying. The scavenger whom, only hours ago, quaked helplessly in fear at his presence. This utter nobody whom he had intended to use as a weapon against the Sith. This scum, this puppet was actually pushing him back. He couldn't take this, not another humiliation. No more. Unclasping the other lightsaber from his belt, he ignited it and suddenly went back on the offensive. A fury of red and blue blades put Rey on the defensive. Her attention was constantly altering between the two weapons. The blade training Aliana had given her did not cover dual wielding. Therefore, all she could do was go on intuitive thinking.
I just gotta put this out there. Dual wielding? You can't just start doing that. You need to be trained in it. I don't think Kylo is. So him being any good at dual wielding, you're adding an extra risk. You're gonna cut something off, buddy.
Yeah, I've tried dual wielding before, and I've
not only that, with how she's written Kylo to have been trained, Luke apparently did not do a very good job. She's just shitting on all of the OG characters.
I refuse to believe that Kylo has been trained at this point, because clearly being trained for like a couple of days is far better than anything Kylo's had.
Yeah, apparently,
Yeah.
yeah.
Logic.
Yeah, Snoke, what the hell are you doing?
How much is offset by adrenaline? How much of inexperience can be offset by adrenaline? That you don't offset inexperience with adrenaline. You offset it's force behind blows. It's like, and it's awareness. Like there's things that are increased because of adrenaline, but one of them is not skill, strictly speaking. You're going to be just as awkward with a sword when you're adrenaline high as you are without the adrenaline high.
Oh, probably even more because
absolutely.
The majority of what makes good sword combat is your footwork. And if you're jittery as fuck due to adrenaline, you're not going to have very good footwork, my dude.
Oh, footwork.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, just like you're going to be
also
panicking. Panic doesn't help.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're
panic.
angry, so you're not going to be thinking straight.
As someone actually done fencing in real life, I can tell you that, like, yeah,
Don't worry.
it's like
Snoke just downloaded a such Ventress.pdf.
Anyway, the ferocity of his attack did nothing to quell the rage inside of her, however, nor the power that had defended her. It seemed as though the longer they fought, the less overwhelming the fight became. She could see attacks before they landed more clearly. She could see areas to counter present themselves with each strike. The advantage Kylo had with his surprise switch to dual wielding was gradually diminishing. And then the ground beneath them shook violently, sending Rey down to one knee and both of Kylo's lightsabers down onto her. She brought Aliana's lightsaber up to lock with his, a contest of raw strength raging between them, beneath crumbling ground. Kylo pushed harder, very briefly causing Rey's arms to buckle, and she regained her center and held him back. "You need a teacher. I can show you the ways of the Force." Rey glared up at him, her exhaustion only further intensifying the hatred that she felt toward him, and how desperately she wanted him to be as far away from her as possible. Thinking back to what she'd done in the interrogation room, she took one hand off of Aliana's lightsaber and threw it outward, creating a shockwave that forced Kylo off balance and slipping into the snow. Jumping onto her feet, Rey slashed at his leg, sending him onto his knees, and then down onto Anakin's lightsaber, severing the emitter and rendering the weapon completely useless.
Oh, she's just destroying Luke's light. Okay, all right.
Ooh.
With one final swing, the tip of Aliana's lightsaber sliced a deep cut across his face and sent him back into the snow, writhing in pain from the burning cut. Taking a moment to catch her breath, Rey looked down into the beaten and broken man before him. What? Him?
What? Oh, Oh, I'm just going to say that's a regular old typo.
Yeah, it just caught me off guard, that's all.
Yeah, because if not, then, oh boy, Lily has some explaining to do.
He looked up at her. Any vestige of his dignity was now in complete tatters. This person before her, this creature, was the definition of pitiful. But Rey had no pity in her heart for this facade of a man, and she never would. Holy shit.
I was going to say, we get it, Lily. You want to be Adam Driver, but you're nowhere near as cool.
Real. If they keep humiliating him, Kylo's eventually going to realize he likes it.
Don't give her ideas. Don't.
No.
She would totally.
Shut up. We do not need that.
Oh, Lily would almost absolutely make Kylo Aliana's and Rey's like pet housebroken like pet, like for humiliation.
No.
Like and it like he did nothing out of it other than humiliation. That's all it would be. Like, and I have no doubt that Lily would be into that.
Probably.
Well, now I feel sick, so that's good.
Welcome to the club.
As she looked down at this slimy, loathsome piece of trash, the voice in her head told her to finish the job, to put him out of everyone else's misery once and for all.
The voice is just Lily. It's just Lily. Finish him, please. Oh my God, please. Oh, please finish him. Oh.
Come on, no balls.
Do it.
Do it, no balls.
Guys.
It was not a voice she was especially accustomed to, nor one with whom she disagreed. Because, of course.
Yeah.
Alas, he still survives in the second movie, so I can't kill him off in my fanfic. Alas. Spending just a moment too long to dwell on the thought, the ground beneath them tore open. Rey's thoughts shifted from the contemptible grease stain that was Kylo Ren and back to her current situation. The planet was coming undone. She and the others needed to leave. The others. Aliana. Finn. Rey's legs moved faster than she knew she ever could as she darted back to Finn's unconscious body. Sliding down to his level, she placed a finger on his pulse. It was faint, but still there. He was alive, but he needed medical attention as soon as possible. Slinging him over her shoulder, she darted the two of them to the nearby Falcon, where Chewie was already prepping the freighter for takeoff. Setting Finn down on the closest thing to the med bay she could find, she braced herself as the ship lifted into the air and prepared to leave the atmosphere. Rey froze for just a second, and the thought of leaving Aliana behind flashed into her mind. Again, she felt disgusted with herself for even considering it, but now she just couldn't bear the thought. As much as Aliana had betrayed her trust, the thought of leaving her behind filled her with even more raw, visceral sadness than even watching Han plunge into the core of the planet.
Of course it does. You didn't spend any fucking time with Han. Also, fucking lightning. My God, man.
Wait, what did he post?
Really good meme, of course.
Dude, get Sai to draw that.
Oh wait, that's what she looks like?
Yeah.
That's what she looks like.
Yeah.
Oh. She has like the smuggest rat bastard face I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Landing pad forehead.
That's because Lily is a rat bastard.
Yeah. He does not. Oh God.
I remind all of you, though, that we're in Chapter 9. Lily said that they were going to get together in Chapter 14.
We're at the end of the film.
Wow. Sounds like
Spoilers. Come on.
Right? No, that was already established.
Yeah, that was
No,
Lily. She spoiled it for us.
No, I mean like Lily spoiling it for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're in Chapter 9, 5 chapters away from them getting together, and Rey was seriously considering the idea of leaving Aliana to die.
Yeah, but remember, she felt bad about it when she thought about it.
Our heroes, everyone.
Or you could just not. Besides, like martyrdom is
martyrdom is cool.
I would never think to ship two characters at the stage where they were considering killing each other off.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you needed. There's a lot of redemptive work that needs to be, unless it is wholly toxic. But I doubt that she's gonna. Okay, honestly, this could work. It could be toxic, and she just doesn't realize she's written a horribly toxic situation.
Yeah.
I don't think she's realized she's written a
that ain't Lily. I don't know what is.
Believe it or not, I've actually seen great shits with worse starts.
Lightning, stop! Lightning, stop!
Oh my God, dude!
No.
Lightning the chat here. Oh!
I need you in my streams, dog. Holy
Jesus
shit!
Christ.
Lily's got a bigger forehead than normal looking Palpatine. I'm sorry, you mean the one from Clone Wars?
I would offer that toxic love relationships does sound very in line with the Sith. Like,
see, I love me a good toxic relationship, but you have to write it well, and you have to understand that is what you're writing. It can't. If you trip into it, you have to be really quick on course correcting either out of it or leaning into it. You can't just luck yourself into it and then hope everything goes well after that.
Oh, good. I
Which
thought.
is
Oh,
so
good. You said.
fucking ironic because Lily is the first person to say that toxic relationships in general are fucking bad.
You know, Raymond, when you said you
Yeah.
like toxic relationships, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, oh, wait, you mean in fiction? Okay.
Oh yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, no shit, Dread.
I know. Oh yeah, dude. I totally just love having my emotions crushed and my dreams driven out of me as I turn into a husk of a person as I fight every
Yeah.
single day with a loved one. I'm absolutely into that, 100%.
Yes, I am.
Oh, so you're a donator on OnlyFans. Got it.
I thought I was the only one. Oh, wait, what?
Wait.
All right.
Yes, I am being sarcastic. Anyway.
Chewie, no! Don't leave! Aliana is waiting for us, she called out, rushing to the cockpit. Chewie grunted in acknowledgement and kept the Falcon low. The two of them looked out the viewport, looking for any sign of Aliana. A feat that was difficult as the burning beam of the base's weapon had been replaced by the bright, burning flashes of Ilum's sun trying to break out of its prison. Eventually, Rey could make out a small silhouette of a rock formation. There! She exclaimed. Aliana, for her part, was weak. Even holding the beam for just a few seconds Aliana, for her part, was weak. Even holding that beam for a few seconds she had before the oscillator went up in flames, had sapped her of so much energy that she could barely stand. That was not a good sentence.
Even holding that beam for the few seconds she had before the oscillator, so comma, before the oscillator went up in flames, comma, had sapped her of so much energy that she could barely stand. Lily, commas are your friend? Or not? Actually, I think you've abused them before.
Yeah, commas and periods are your friend, and you need to put commas wherever there is a natural place to breathe. Because we like air.
Now, someone's got to read that line again, but reading the comments with a pause like Christopher Walken.
Even holding that beam for the few seconds that she had before the oscillator went up in flames had sapped her of so much energy that she could barely stand. I put this watch up my ass.
Never mind Christopher Walken. We need William Shatner to read this.
He seemed to just stare
Let's
at the
make
collapsing planet around her, occasionally stumbling on her own feet. She only looked up when the lights of the Falcon caught her attention, and Rey got a very brief look of the hopeless expression on her face, before a weak smile quickly replaced it. The Falcon's ramp opened up and Rey came out to guide her inside. Aliana took her hand and limply stumbled up the ramp, almost risking falling off before Rey braced her shoulders and helped her into the ship. She sat Aliana down and watched as the Sith seemed to gasp for air. There was a yellow tint to her eyes that was gradually fading away, and it looked like her veins had darkened around her temples. I don't know how you did that, Rey breathed. Neither do I, Aliana said, her voice barely a whisper.
Wait, no, what? You did it, though. Like, okay, I get, like, I don't know how I did it. No, you intentionally went up on a hill and attempted to do this, so you might have thought at some point this was even a remote possibility. You didn't make it out to be, like, an impossible task. You just thought that you might die from it. Which,
yeah.
I don't know how you know any of this.
Honestly,
I remember when I trained to withhold the energy of a 1,000-mile long fucking super weapon that could destroy multiple planets. I remember when I trained for that, man. I always forgot that I had that training in the back of my skull, and so when it came relevant, I just completely forgot about it, man. I didn't even know I could do that.
Also, if
Maybe the
if
Force
they
told her
keep
to
the
do
fact that Luke dies. Yeah, also, if they keep the fact that Luke dies from astral projecting in the next movie, but have Aliana survive this, I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
Oh, I'm curious how she's going to do Luke, because I can only imagine that going horribly wrong.
I don't think I read that far yet, so...
Oh no, she's gonna fucking massacre the man.
Alright. With everyone accounted for, Chewie set the thrusters to maximum, sped as fast as they could away from the imploding planet. Through the peripheral, he could see resistance and First Order ships alike flying away from the surface. Behind the feeling ships, the chaos appeared less like simple blooming of explosions and more like giant ripples of plasma one could see along the surface of a star. Several hours in hyperspace was not an ideal situation for anybody, least of all Rey and Aliana. Aliana had recovered from exerting herself for the most part, and was up in front with Rey helping to co-pilot while Chewie slept.
Oh,
with Chewie
that
asleep
didn't keep her
and Finn
down
still...
for like weeks?
No,
okay. All right.
Probably not. With Chewie asleep and Finn still unconscious... Oop! Oh no, I pulled the cord out of my laptop. Give me 1 sec.
I'll pick up, I guess.
No. Just give me 1
1 second has elapsed.
Well, I'm done now. With Chewie asleep and Finn still unconscious, it was the two of them. Alone. And uncomfortable.
Oh no.
Aliana had promised to tell Rey everything, except perhaps one detail she considered to be irrelevant. But now that they were alone together, that was proving to be increasingly difficult. Rey hadn't spoken to her since rescuing her from the planet, and Aliana was almost afraid to test her. The silence in the cockpit was deafening. The two of them simply sat there, pretending to ignore the thickening tension, simply wanting the other to make the first move, as if the conversation were a duel. It was Rey who broke the silence first, as the anger and frustration she felt from the events of that day hadn't ever completely died down. In fact, Aliana's silence made it easier to remember why she was still mad. "Well?" she prompted. "Yes," Aliana replied meekly. "You promised you would explain yourself," Rey said through clenched teeth, her knuckles white with how tightly she was gripping the controls. Aliana sighed, relenting that it was no time to be skittish. After everything Rey endured since the two had met, she deserved the truth. "My name is Aliana Benico. That's still true," she began. "But one day, my mother gave me another name. Darth Amorosa." Rey kept her eyes steady on Aliana as she explained herself. "I'm a Sith Lord, as was my mother. As was everyone in my family for countless centuries," Aliana continued. "My family kept to itself for the most part. When the schism in the Sith that created the Vader's line of Sith happened, my ancestors survived. Over the years, the galaxy moved past the wars with the Sith Empire and moved to a new era of peace. My family stayed on the Outer Rim and wild space, just getting by. We bothered nobody."
Okay, so that's her explanation. Is there were peaceful Sith this whole time, but the evil Sith split off from us. They're so evil. They're the evil
they're
ones,
just
we're the good
peaceful
ones.
devil worshippers.
What about the ancient Sith species?
We're just gonna fuck off to middle of bumfuck nowhere and just worship Baphomet in peace.
Wait, is this the
Yeah.
plot of The Acolyte, but like somehow worse?
We
No, really, it's more like if you ever read the whatever it's called, the Lost Tribe of the Sith. Might just be that.
Oh.
we're just going to practice the way of rage in peace.
The end game! The end game!
Alright. Aliana's hands gripped the hem of her robes as an unpleasant memory returned to the forefront of her mind. My mother was killed by a Jedi Master. That is also still true. But they killed her because we were Sith. They saw my mother teaching me the Sith code and attacked. They killed her and I fled. Without her, all I could do was survive, offer my skills to whoever paid, did what I could to maintain the fury and try to keep moving. I never stayed in one place for long. I couldn't afford it. It seemed like someone in every corner of the galaxy wanted the Sith dead. For the longest time, that didn't bother me. I knew people would inevitably discover what I was, and I never hid it. I wore my heritage as a badge of honor. That is until... Aliana trailed off, unsure what to say next. "Until me," Rey finished. Aliana nodded. What makes me different? Ray asked, his scowl not wavering in the slightest. Why were you afraid to tell me, but not the others? What were you planning? Aliana hesitated, unsure of how to answer. I wasn't planning anything, Ray. I don't believe you, Ray said, turning her head to stare at the hyperspace tunnel. What did you want from me? Nothing. Anyone who meets me wants something from me, Ray seethed, gripping the control rod for the hyperdrive tightly. Finn wanted someone to watch his back while he fled the First Order. Unkar Plutt wanted me to retrieve scrap from him. Kylo Ren wanted me for... She shuddered at the thought of just what exactly Ren seemed to want her for. The only people who didn't want anything from me left me to rot in a desert planet in the middle of nowhere. If you really didn't want anything from me, you wouldn't have come looking for me. So what is it?
Okay, first of all, Ray, holy shit, that's unhealthy to think about. Secondly, Finn didn't seem to want jack shit from you. He was literally just fleeing for his life this entire time. Like,
yeah.
What about, like, wanted someone to watch his back while you were fleeing the First Order too. You were both fleeing the First Order. You guys didn't have a choice but to cooperate together.
Yeah, y'all were in the same boat.
Yeah,
it was consensual wanting.
I love how she has to twist it to make that relationship between them rather toxic so that it makes it seem like Ray and Aliana is the better option.
Is she
shadow
boxing Finn right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is she shadow boxing Finn right now?
Which, as we all know, in this circumstance, is racist.
Oh, 110%.
The peaceful Sith. I say the people of the world must learn our peaceful ways by force. Perfect. Okay.
Ray, Aliana bit back the word that threatened to come out of her mouth. Somehow she felt bringing the words to life would make things worse. It was then that Ray chose to flip the switch and bring the ship out of hyperspace. Aliana looked between Ray and the viewport, bewildered. Not only did they drop back to normal space, but the thrusters weren't on. They were practically motionless. Ray, what are you doing? You could have made us into jam.
Yeah.
Space room.
We're not going anywhere until you tell me that. It's just wasted appears on screen.
It just ends with the hyperspace kamikaze.
Yeah, hyperspace right into an asteroid. The end.
We're not going anywhere until you tell me the truth, Ray sneered, her intense gaze locked with Aliana's. I'm not going to the Resistance base with a Sith who keeps things from me. Ray, this is ridiculous. We fled from First Order space. They'll be right on top of us in minutes, Aliana protested. Then talk. What do you want from me? Oh my god. Do you have to do this now?
Are we sure this is Ray and not Yang?
Oh, shit. Yeah, you're actually right. Somehow making Rey a worse person than she was in the movies. That is genuinely impressive, I guess, because Rey had such a lack of characterization on the grand whole of it. Any characterization you give her could theoretically be worse characterization.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I had to do something, but
I just can't believe that Rey is ignoring the danger that they still might be in to get this answer out. Like they
You're fleeing a collapsing star. I don't know how fast that travels, but I imagine you are not traveling fast enough if you're outside of warp speed here, all right?
No, they've completely stopped.
Yeah.
Which means anyone in hyperspeed could easily catch up to them, realize where they are, stop, and then just blow them up immediately.
I like the idea is that she just literally just pulled like a freaking like emergency brake on the car and just straight to a stop and actually does a thing where it lifts the front up a little bit. But
like in Spaceball?
Yeah, like in Spaceballs, like that kind of shit. because like that's not how space. You still be drifting forward with no propulsion. You don't stop.
Yeah.
But apparently they
That's
have.
not how the space works.
Yeah,
That's not how the
complete
space
stop.
works.
Sir, I see the enemy ahead. They're having an emotional moment. Hold your fire.
Nothing. Aliana swallowed a lump in her throat. I just want you to be okay. That's all. That's all? Ray asked disbelievingly. Why should I believe that? What is it? Why are you so concerned about me? Aliana sighed. Ray was really going to make her say it. She would make her say it, then refuse to believe her, and then they would get annihilated by a dreadnought that caught up to them while they were busy arguing. Aliana resigned to her fate, knowing that things couldn't get any worse. It was clear that Ray would rather die on her own terms than leave anything up to chance.
Yeah, and take everyone else on the ship with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck
Because
all them.
I love you. Grace.
It's been 2 days.
I was gonna say, as much as this is hilariously bad writing, I'm also kind of nostalgic right now because it's reminding me of all the bad fan fiction I read back in the day that I didn't realize was bad, and I was so enraptured. Like, I understand why people read this stuff when you're a young reader and you don't know any better, and you're still getting something from it because your brain is filling in a lot of the gaps, and you're getting all these like nice juicy pumps of like brain juice that make you feel all the good romantic feelings. Like, I get it. I get it. It's still awful because like there is no substance here, but it's like it's I would say not even it's like the freezer store aisle food option. It's not really even better than fast food, but it's there and it tastes good.
It
Raymond,
tastes
I thought you were going
serviceable, not good.
Well, yeah, it's like junk food.
Raymond, I thought you were gonna say I'm starting to feel nostalgic for Bumblebee.
No,
Wow.
I'm
God.
gonna argue back on you. I think junk food tastes better than frozen food. I think frozen food tastes absolutely awful.
Agreed.
Fair enough, I
It's
suppose.
literally watered down.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ray's scowl fell only to be replaced by a look of confusion and surprise. What? I said.
What?
You what?
Great delivery.
You're welcome.
Say.
I said, I love you, Aliana repeated, taking a deep and steady breath. You mean so much to me, and I couldn't bear the thought of you in that creature's clutches. I couldn't think, I couldn't focus on anything the longer that you were on Starkiller Base. I kept thinking about what kind of torture that he might have been putting you through, and how I let that happen because I wasn't looking out for you. She shut her eyes for a moment, trying to keep the tears from streaming down her face. I just wanted you to be okay, she finished. Even if you hated me for lying to you, as long as I knew you were safe, I could live with that.
Oh, God. When did Aliana become such a bitch?
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
The confusion on Ray's face didn't falter as Aliana continued her explanation. If anything, it only became greater. This didn't make any sense. No one had ever thought about her, this selflessly.
She wants to tap that ass, Ray.
Yeah,
that
you
does
asked
sound
what she
selfish to
wanted.
me, but
Everybody apparently wants something from you. She wants your ass.
which makes it even worse because it literally starts with Aliana ogling her from the very first chapter, Dawn.
Oh God, I
wonder
forgot about
how-
that.
I wonder how
Except with
Chewie's
my
feeling.
Yeah,
I wonder how
Chewie. It's like, what the fuck? You guys are like fucking in the cockpit? Can you stop doing that? That's not what the cock is for. That's not what the cock and cockpit is for. Jeez, even Han and Leia did it in the quarters. They didn't.
They put in the cockpit, you know?
Just imagine that they start and then they accidentally hit the hyperdrive.
Talk about a
No
flash
one she-
finish.
No one she knew was ever this selfless about anything. She couldn't understand it. It frustrated her, as did the calm, almost serene tone in Aliana's voice as she talked about such selfless love.
I hate to deviate here, but because I have Silent Hill 2 on the brain, I cannot help but think about Angela, whose entire story is that she was abused constantly through her entire childhood up until she became an adult and decided to finally, like, in an emotional fit, kill her father to escape. And it's like, her ending is that she cannot fathom a world where people selflessly love her or care about her. She cannot fathom a world where someone could actually help her to heal after everything that had happened to her and everything that she ended up doing. Like, that is one of the most depressing stories I have ever witnessed, and it's so beautifully told over the course of, like, 5 cutscenes and a boss fight. And I'm sitting here, and I have gotten 0 of this. I feel nothing about Rey's whole conniption about no one's ever actually loved me before bullshit. I don't feel it.
It comes out of left field.
Not only that, but, like, right after her stating that everyone wants something from her, nobody comes to her without wanting something. And then here Aliana is basically saying that she loves her, and then she's immediately calling it a selfless love. It's like, you don't know that it's selfless.
Yeah, typically speaking, when like people expressing a love to some extent in this manner, it typically gives them the feel-good juices in the brains too. Like when they love something, like that's not purely selfish or selfless. That also has a selfish component to it.
Yeah.
Also, like, we never really knew much about Rey's backstory on Jakku before. It's like she didn't have friends or
Yeah, we didn't.
like a
We've
mother.
never learned about that. Yeah.
Yeah, like we at least knew that like Luke had friends and experiences before he hooked up with the Magic Scotsman. So
Rey's friend was that old lady she cleaned like parts with. That was about it.
I mean, what does he have seen painted?
Okay. We're off in the weeds. We're off in the weeds.
Enough. In this frustration, she turned her gaze back to the viewport and spoke without thinking. Then live with it. Aliana looked genuinely hurt and moved to reach for her. While she said she could live with it if Rey chose to hate her, it didn't make it any less heartbreaking. Rey didn't see the tears brimming in Aliana's eyes, but somehow she felt them. Only when the other woman began to stand and leave did Rey suddenly realize what she had said. She whipped back around and grabbed Aliana's wrist before she could move any further. "Wait!" she said almost desperately, looking up to see 2 beautiful ruby eyes glistening with tears.
Oh, sorry.
What?
We can't have something interesting happen. We can't have a rejection of Aliana. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. It still really does feel like grooming on Aliana's part. Like she just groomed Rey into loving her, because this is like literally the only time that she has ever experienced any kind of sexuality.
There are several elements here that just make this all uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Also, Twilight, I thought you were going to say, it really feels like Lily just doesn't want this scene to fucking end.
That too.
To be fair, we're not helping that.
Yeah, the self-flagellation is strong with this bullshit.
What? Aliana asked, her voice cracking with the same fragility as if she'd spoken through a sob. I don't have anything left to tell you, Rey. Rey sighed, trying to get a hold at the sudden sense of panic that shot through her. I'm sorry. That was cruel, she said. I believe you.
Pussy! No balls!
Aliana trembled and the tears started to finally fall down her cheeks. She let out a cracked sob and she sat down with a crate beside her. I didn't want anything from you, Rey. I wasn't planning anything. I was just scared. Scared I'd lose the only friend I'd ever had in over a decade. That's selfish.
Where's the Pace's body? I'm trying to find it. It seems it was killed hours ago.
I'm sorry, the Pace went out the fucking airlock back in chapter 1.
What about the droid? Were you not friends with your droid?
No. Fuck the droid.
Someone. Yeah, honestly. You can't be friends with droids. What are you talking about?
Okay, Mando.
Someone who I love so much. I know I should have told you. I shouldn't have waited so long. But I... She trailed off, staring at the floor as her fear, combined with her exhaustion, had overwhelmed her. Sorry, now I'm doing it. Oof. I'm sorry.
We're sorry.
I know.
We're sorry.
Rey said, her grip on Aliana's wrist shifting to gently squeeze her hand. I understand why, but... She trailed off, taking a moment to consider her words as to prevent hurting Aliana any further. You still lied to me. Trust is something I've given to very few people in my life. Ever since you and I met, you've become closer to me like no one else. I considered you my best friend. And then I learned you kept your entire life a secret from me, and I trusted you and you lied to me. I can't just get over that, you know?
For the record, everyone, reminder, it has been no more than a week.
Yeah.
Not even that. It's been 2 days.
No, they did extend the time period of because
Voice
like
chat, guys.
yeah, like they spent like a week at Maz.
Yeah. So it's been 2
touche.
weeks.
Lightning, what is this a reference to?
Who cares? It's good.
God.
Oh God.
Is that King Arthur?
Oh God.
No, it's Wizard Ale.
Wizard Ale.
This one has like two layers to it.
Great.
Please continue. Oh God.
As calm and patient as Rey tried to make her words, she felt that there was something more she could say. Squeezing Aliana's hand gently, she continued. Look, so long as you promise me no more secrets and that you'll be absolutely honest with me from here on out, there's a chance I'll be able to trust you again. But it won't be for a long while, understood? You need to prove this to me. Aliana looked up, her eyes raw with tears and her face carrying a look of surprise. She took a moment to fully process Rey's words and the realization that she wasn't going to be sent away, and nodded, squeezing Rey's hand. I can do that. I promise. I won't keep anything from you ever again. Holy shit, I can see the end.
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
we're almost there. We're almost there. Don't worry.
Oh my God.
Everyone,
This really is
everyone,
just
hold
the
your
end.
everyone, hold your comments. We're almost there.
Yeah. Rey wanted to believe Aliana more than anything, but she knew that being so quick to trust Aliana was what got them in this situation to begin with. She had to remain firm in her conviction. A part of her wished to try and test this promise, to ask her something deep and personal and see if the Sith would be honest. However, the last few hours had been physically and emotionally draining for the both of them. Such a test at this point would seem unfair. Perhaps a simpler question at least. Kylo Ren seemed to get it in his head that you meant to take me on as your apprentice, Rey said almost matter-of-factly. Did you? Aliana hesitated, her tired mind unable to process the question as quickly as she could fully rest. Rested. No. It never really occurred to me. Maybe try to teach you the basics to protect yourself from him, but I never intended to train you completely. I mean, I can if you want me to, but I had no plans. I planned for all of the teachings of my family that were passed down for millions of years to die with me.
Millions of years?
Yeah.
Wait, why would Aliana have such a conservative mindset about things? Tradition? No.
No, wait, Raymond, this is her character development. Through finding Rey, she becomes more open with her traditions, dog.
Oh my god, when she finds her trad wife, she becomes a Republican.
Oh god. Oh god. Too soon, man. Too soon.
God damn it, Lightning.
What did he do? What did he do this time?
Oh my god, you're right. Oh my god, Lightning.
Stole my bit. He stole my bit. I was gonna say that.
No.
No.
That's true.
Oh.
Okay, we're almost there.
Really hit Aliana with the no more lies, no more half truths.
We're almost there, guys. Let's
Almost there.
Let's try and power
Almost
through.
there. Rey considered Aliana's words. She felt as though she were telling the truth, a feeling she was rather confident in since discovering that she could touch minds.
Phrasing.
That's all right, thanks, Rey said, declining her offer. All right, we still have a long way to go, but it's a start. Aliana nodded and returned to her seat as Rey started to hyperdrive and accelerated the ship. She looked down at the controls, only a small portion of them she knew how to operate, and started diverting power to the hyperdrive for her. As the ship picked up speed and the blackness of space was replaced by a comforting hyperspace tunnel, Aliana felt as if a huge weight had been lifted off her shoulders. Things weren't great, but Rey had given her a chance to earn back her trust. And she wasn't going to waste it.
Aliana felt as if a huge weight had been lifted off her shoulders. Or was that a thousand millions of voices screaming and in silence? I get the two mixed up. I can't tell.
I need headaches.
Jesus Christ! All right, I'm trying to think how to even dig into this. Into like, okay, so it's only been a week. Why would you have expected her to tell you literally the most damning thing about her within the span of a week? But then at the same time, she tells everyone this most damning thing, and you're the only one she's held it back from you from.
She
and then,
said that she wore her status as a Sith with pride. Like, obviously she cares about her heritage, but for just arbitrary reasons, she just didn't want to tell the girl that she cared about, that she fell in lust with.
Because she thought ahead, apparently, and this one random girl she thought not to tell that she was a Sith because she didn't want to scare her off. But then on the flip of it, it's like, wearing your heritage with pride, no, you don't. Because when you go into the Inner Rim, you say you go undercover and you hide who you are. You disguise yourself because you don't want to be seen, because you don't want anyone to come after you. That's not having pride.
You say your lightsaber is fake.
That's like,
it's
so. There's a million things that she could do to try and like help herself out. Be like, hey, I am an original Sith. I don't like these fake ones. I'm gonna help you guys to take back.
We went through the Sith Protestant Reformation. we are now the Orthodox Sith Order.
Like, it's very simple. All you have to do is just denounce the fake Sith, because that's what you view them as. You don't view them as like actual Sith.
Or better yet, come up with a new name for what you are.
Never been tried, okay?
Yeah, true Sith hasn't been tried. You could abandon the name Sith, go for something new, something different. I don't know.
Yes. Like shit.
Like shit,
guys, in the expanded universe, there are actually multiple different Force orders besides Jedi and Sith. So just say,
I have no doubt about
that.
Yeah, like I don't. There are so many different levels to what's going on here that just makes this awful. Like, okay, Rey, she literally stopped a planet from firing a massive death laser to destroy several planets. Like, so you're doubting her being a good person, but she's also a Sith, which should mean she shouldn't be a good person because Sith aren't good people. And it's just, it's all wrapped up in just Lily doesn't understand what a Sith is. Lily doesn't understand how people would react to a Sith, or even know what a Sith is, or even like what is important about being a Sith, or how a Sith would be when it comes down to actually acting good in a certain circumstance. Lily hasn't thought any of this through, and it's just this convoluted mess that's just constant. Like every other line contradicts the last. It's great. I love it.
Of course not.
The problem is she wants the Sith to be like these edgy offshoot rebels who are like misunderstood, but the problem is in actual Star Wars, that's not what they are. The Sith are like the Nazis or the Inquisition or just like every evil organization wrapped up into one. So
oh, I forgot what I was going to do. Even though it's going to be pushing our time a little bit, I'm going to swap us over. I'm going to actually just get a new...
Oh, the comments.
To
We're
the
going to look at the
comments, 'cause
comments.
I'm interested about the
Oh
comments.
no!
Let's go!
Yes.
Do it.
Might I for one last comment?
All right, everyone, get your hazmat suits on. We're
Okay.
dealing with like level 10 cringe.
Okay. If also, why is the Resistance even here? What?
I don't know.
What do they? Yeah.
So I'm
That's
gonna
what I thought.
Like,
I mean,
yeah,
they're kind of
I'm
a
with
setup, but they're
I'm with
not
Teddy
really
Bear.
needed anymore. Because
I'm with Teddy Bear.
I don't know if they said it outright, but the New Republic isn't destroyed in this version. That's not a spoiler. Like her stop. Like they never like.
Let's read the comments.
Yeah, let's read the comments. Let me put this up on screen for y'all. Just give me a moment here. Change windows. Get it. Move Kelpie. Sith Resurgence. Kelpie move. So
Bless
let's
you,
see.
man.
Let's see what the comments have. 'Cause
Thank you.
Sorry. We have 31 comments to go through. Some of them are else.
Oh,
So, Derligap, dang, 2 in 1 day.
Also, mute yourself if you have to cough from now on.
Yeah. Dang, 2 in 1 day. To whoever is on a plane right now, I hope you were enjoyed it. I like how you don't hold back on the flashy force displays, because if you have space magic, why not be spectacular? And I'm wondering
What?
how long it will take for Aliana to reveal who killed her mother. Don't know if Rey will be upset for hiding that. Certainly helps that writing this sort of stuff doesn't cost you millions in special effects. I don't know if actually that would cost her any more special effects budget than what we already saw. Cry.
Like the fight was written very plainly. Like it was just this happens and then this happens and then this happens.
I think they're talking about the big like space laser though that she
Yeah.
just took down. I think that's what they're talking about.
Well, I would save them on the budget of making the planets explode because they didn't explode.
A kiss and a gunshot. Cry face. Well, that was sad. Still, I'm glad they cleared the air. Forgiveness quickly given is worth little in my experience. That was forgiveness. That was like actually forgiveness way too quickly. Oh God.
Yes.
Crazy fan, poor Han. Things weren't great, but Rey had given her the chance to earn back her trust, and she wasn't going to waste it. Nice.
At least he's
Ugh.
honest about his name.
Woman Love Woman in Space is an A+ trope guest. Got this chapter, and it especially hurt me in my heart. I'm glad the girls cleared the air. I hope Carl stays along. Carl? Carl?
Who the hell is Carl?
Who's Carl?
Carl! Where's Carl?
Oh no, I didn't know they I didn't know Lily crossed over Left 4 Dead. Oh wait, shit, no. That was The Walking Dead shit.
Jimmy, I
The Walking Dead.
Jimmy, I was hoping you could tell me, why are we in space without helmets on? Anyway. I hope Carl stays along the ride, and I cannot wait for Ali and the gang to grind the grease stain into the fucking dirt. The story seriously hits the spot as far as good narrative and especially good character work. This whole thing is so blessed.
Oh,
No, it's not.
Fucking
Take a
kill
shot.
me.
I'm
Oh,
counting the
that's-
comments.
You know what? It's shit like this that makes me want to advocate for mandatory IQ tests and the death penalty.
And the fact that Rey doesn't immediately forgive Ali, and that Ali has to earn Rey's trust again is nice. I want the space gays to be happy, but it's nice to have a story that doesn't force unearned forgiveness, good shit. But we know they're getting together in 5 chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna take 5 chapters for them to get together. I don't think That's called earning, dude.
It needs more
Did
gays.
we read the
says,
same thing?
Christ, from experiencing Han's death all over again to Aliana stopping the death laser. Holy shit, I was so fucking cool. Oh my god. The chapter was gripping from start to finish, but Aliana and Ray's conversation hit me especially hard. I could feel the tension and emotion in every paragraph. Every note was hit. Okay, so do you know the common criticism of the sequel trilogy is that it's just jangling keys in front of nostalgia keys in front of the audience? It feels over reels. These are these people. That's the people that those critics are talking about.
Exactly. And you know what? You know what? Here's the freaking thing. I would not mind if this was blatantly just a self-indulgent fan fiction or whatever. But the problem is that Lily is cloaking this crap. She's making this an actual story in disguise. She's pulling a Transformer on us. And I don't like that shit.
Wait, and not only that, but like
it's two-faced as fuck.
It's the fact that she holds her writing above everyone else's. When I write fan fiction,
Yeah.
like unless it's fixing Ruby, which is a critical, like it actually has a critical element to it, is a different than my regular fan fiction where I'm just kind of doing my own thing. I'm not pretending like it's like Shakespeare. Andy,
yeah, but she makes videos where she's fighting people over this shit. It's
I'm
so
noticing a theme in
frickin'
Lily's stories about someone lying to another and then trust needing to be rebuilt. I like it. I wonder if that's relevant to anything.
On that wonderful note, good night.
Night, man. We're gonna wrap up here. I'm not gonna look through all of these.
I don't think we can get any better than that.
Kylo Ross. I'm just gonna look at some of the fun stuff.
Kylo Ross from Space Friends.
Yes. Lana quote bingo. Ever since I met you, I've become closer to me like no. You've become closer to me like no one else. Lana quote bingo. Lana quote bingo. Was that taken from someone? I guess. It's refreshing that Ray doesn't trust Aliana. Everyone's just. I hate all of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess because I guess because they Ray said it's gonna take me a while for me to trust you again, and people are like, oh well, she didn't forgive her right away, but it's like she did though.
Yeah, it's like it's just the rebuilding of trust. Like there's a difference. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining. I hope you all had a good time. Reminder that if you want to get in here during these fan fiction viewings, you can join the Patreon for $1 or more, and you gain access to the Tundra Discord server, where I, Twilight Guardian, Kaiser Shonen, and other members of my community, such as Fatman Falling and Dashi Lee, are regularly active. Actually, Dashi's not.
And I can yell at you.
And Twi will yell at you. You can come in here. Look, if you're a masochist and you want to get yelled at, you know the place to come. All right.
Yeah,
we appeal to a specific service. We offer the Monty Python office of arguments that you can go to pay for an argument.
Yeah.
We offer that service. We've actually made it in real life. Twilight is our resident expert.
Yep.
Just tell her that Digimon is bad, and I promise you will have a satisfying argument.
No, you
don't.
If you mistake,
you tell her Kingdom Hearts is
Soul Edge for the
unlooted,
Way
and
of
then
Dawn,
just sit down. Sit down and listen.
But yes, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all had a fun time. And this week, special note, we should have a previously recorded bad fan fiction night for Blood Raining Nights going up on the channel sometime this week.
Yes.
So look forward to that.
So excited.
Finally, you get around to it, man.
Our boy Zelkami here. Our handsome boy Zelkami here did a wonderful job putting it together. It is hilarious. Some of the visual gags are like just gut-bustingly hilarious, particularly the family lineage of Reichuru is amazing.
Oh yeah.
I not gonna lie, the random angel dust in the corner like got me real hard.
Oh no!
Yo, you got fucking cocaine in the bed?
Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. The entire video is it's pure gold, start to finish. So look forward to that sometime in the coming
Oh my
week.
gosh, you missed out.
Well, thank you for saying that.
Yes. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you all